Okay, it's Monday, June 19th, 2023 at 5 o'clock, and we'll call this City Council meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to our City Council meeting. So if everyone would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Deb.
Brad. Rodney.
Here.
Tyler.
Here.
Don.
Here.
Jody. Here. Harley.
Here. I would, agenda item number 4, entertain a motion to approve the agenda today.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion from Barley, second from Don. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Rodney.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Don.
Yes.
Jody.
Yes.
Harley.
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you. Across the mayor's desk, I'd like to thank our videographer, Sydney Casey, today. And just to let everyone know out there in our listening audience that Family Dollar and the Dollar Tree store opened today. Very, very nice store. We're always excited and encouraged when new businesses open in town. So we're very happy to see them open in the former Baumgars building there on Highway 18. So be sure to stop out and pay a visit. Also, 4th of July weekend is just a week and a half away already. It's hard to imagine that time's here, but we just want to hope that everyone has a safe and fun holiday weekend, which brings us to the fireworks. The fireworks this year will be on Tuesday, the 4th of July at dusk, and it'll be at the same location there by the fairgrounds. So 4th of July on Tuesday, the fireworks. And then the 4th of July also brings ABATE to town that weekend, so just be ever mindful of the additional motorcycle traffic. So, council have anything they would like to share? Okay, hearing none, update from the city administrator.
Yeah, just a few construction project updates. The reconstruction of the skate park in Central Park is moving along at a good pace. So they started pouring concrete last week and should be finishing up this week or early next week. So hopefully we'll have pretty much all that work done on that by the 4th of July. And then work on the larger Central Park redevelopment project, which includes the splash pad. That will is expected to begin here later this week with removals to begin some of the sidewalk work on the north side of the park there. And then I also just want to remind people with all the street projects we have going on again this year that they can go to the city website, the city Facebook page, and find links to construction updates, as well as on those the opportunity to sign up or to receive text messages or emails on construction alerts, or just view the updates on there. Wooster Street has been closed for the last several weeks and will remain closed for reconstruction. And then Finn Drive, just south of Highway 18, that closed last week for construction. So there's detours to either McCoy or Snap-on Drive for people driving out that direction. And then I'd like to invite Joanne Ropke-Bodie up to share some information on the upcoming Founders Day.
Good afternoon, everyone. So Founders Day is coming right along, and there's just going to touch on some of the highlights. It's a multi-day celebration, and even though July 5th is not officially included, I kind of include that in Founders Day too, because that kicks it all off with a party in the park, and that Wednesday before everything happens at 5:30 to 7:30. Thursday night, the Heritage Award, of course, at the cemetery, and then Voices from the Past, and then the races of that night. Then Friday will be the very big night, so we've got a lot of things happening then. The bags tournament, and we're still accepting teams for that, so if you're interested in putting a team together, still time. The parade will be that night, line up at 5:30. You do not have to RSVP for that, so just like last year, you can just show up kind of there on Nebraska Street, and we had about 30 entries last year, which was a lot of fun. And that was the first year that we tried it. And so we hope to have about the same or maybe even more, so that'll kind of go along Nebraska Street and Brown. Also Friday night, of course, the bands, and then we're really excited to offer 2 local bands this year, Midland Vibe and then Hip Liberty. So if you haven't seen it, either of those folks play. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I think that'll be a great show on Friday night. And one of the new things is having food truck Friday night. So I think it's about 6 or 7 different food trucks that will be there, in addition to our local restaurants who we know were super busy last year, so I think it'll work out well for everyone to have a bunch of different food inside and outside and beverages. So if you like a good food truck, I hope you come join us. And also, I don't want to overlook the Walk on Thornton, which is also happening that night twice, right, Harley?
Yep, on either side of the parade, so people don't have to miss it.
Yes, you can sandwich the parade with a walk down historic Thornton, and I know that's been really enjoyed the last few years. Saturday, I was just talking with somebody about this. We're doing a fun run that's not a 5K, not a 10K, but a 4 mile. And that is going to be raising funds for Exercise from the Heart. We'll begin at the Cassuth County Fairgrounds and then have a nice big challenging hill over at College Park and loop around. So if you don't want to run the whole thing, you can walk some of it or hike some of it, or if you can push a stroller, bring a dog, whatever you need to do to get over on that 4 mile. I think it'll be a really fun and different distance. Then of course that day we have the Exploring the Wild Living Campus. We've got Art in the Park that day. Kids Bash is a fun free event for families. Dunk Tank, the Omaha Street Percussion is another highlight. If you've ever seen, well, I think of them as bucket bands, but they're a little different from that. A lot of fun. That's at 1 o'clock, and then I believe they play again at 3. So that'll be a really fun time in addition to the Art in the Park area. Our museums will be open. Oh, this is one I want to make sure to mention is we're going to have a new festival, the World Food Festival, happening on Saturday night. And we're really looking to recruit a few vendors for that. And it can be, if you enjoy sharing your family culture heritage through food, which I enjoy, the eating end of that, we're looking for you to be a vendor. Vendors would just bring 150 sample size servings of whatever they're making. Pork is donated by Hormel. Should be a fun event either as a vendor or as a taster. So that'll start at 4 o'clock. And then on Sunday, we've got the Showboat Boating Golf Tournament, and then River Canoeing Expedition, and a few other things. So it should be a fun and busy weekend, and we're still hoping to confirm a few more volunteers. So if you're interested in helping out in some fashion that weekend, let the Chamber of Commerce know. We're still taking names, and we'd love to add your name to that list. So any questions for me about the stuff going on?
Sounds like fun.
Great. We hope everyone can join us. Should be a great weekend. Thanks.
Thanks, Joanne. Anything else, Jacob? Nope. That's okay. Agenda item number 7, this is the citizens' opportunity to address the council with any item that's not on the agenda. Anyone, okay, would you like to come up and to the podium there and tell us who you are? And
Hi, I'm Josh Fullhouse, I'm Harley's son. I just wanted to come up today and invite everybody to join me on June 28th at 11 a.m. at 104 West Hall Street, which is the AMU Municipal Utilities Building. They're having a public hearing to talk about the 2023 water rates. The proposal is it's supposed to raise the rates between $1.80 and $3.20, depending on what type of service you have with them. And I'd like to invite the entire council, the mayor, as well as city staff to join that and ask questions. I'm going in, open mind, open thoughts about the rate increase. The rate was developed years ago as to what the increase will be today. And I have at least 2 good questions to ask to the board, to the board of trustees, to make sure that we're understanding what our government is doing and how are they doing it. And in this municipal utility, they're part of the city of Algonquin in a way. They're a quasi-government. So I think it would be very good if any other citizens would like to come out and join me on again, it's June 28th, so a week from this Wednesday at 11 a.m. over at AMU. It's highly convenient time. I will be taking off work to join, but I think it's important for me and any other citizens that can join me there to ask the important questions that may be asked. Thank you.
thank you. Okay.
Janice Laurie, and I don't know if the board members are familiar with these orders like it. Passed around, these are notes on the property I had at 410 North Jones Street. Very poorly written, very limited information over the course of the time that this took place. And the arrow that I got in there is a misunderstanding, I believe, on your building official, because I would have known what a benefit is to bring down a property that's in poor condition. Rather, I was asking for the benefit of donating it to the city, and I think I had several city officials acting as a tax person on my behalf. I should have been sent to my tax preparer or my lawyer, and so I do still have hurt feelings. Jacob said he feels this is done. I feel there's still some misunderstanding. Jacob, do you care? I asked you one time what it costs to take the building down.
I don't recall off the top of my head.
20 to 25,000.
I think it was less than that, but yeah.
I got attacked on Facebook, somebody suggesting that it cost the city, us taxpayers, 40-some thousand. And so I just thought it was best if you guys see this, this is over the course of a year's documentation. That is all the documentation there is from your planner. I am well over 5 pages with my notes already. I offered, the last time I stood up, I didn't get to make it last week, or 2 weeks ago due to an emergency. Prior to that, I was like getting out of the office and I didn't make it in to speak. So I don't mean to drag this out, but situations come up. I still would like to have some resolve. I had asked at the prior meeting that somebody contact me, that I have an ECD contact, and I got a contact an hour before the meeting. I didn't get to stand up in front. I thought that was an enforced situation too. So encourage you folks to reach out to me, and I can further discuss this, then take your time now. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. Anyone else like to speak? Okay, if not, we'll move to agenda item number 8, which is the consent agenda. And that includes approving the minutes from our June 5th work session and our regular city council meeting. Approve the bills to be paid this cycle. Approve a cigarette permit for Family Dollar. Approve the department reports, as well as approve the minutes from the various boards and commissions that have met, and approve Jacob's administrator's report.
Just to clarify, that permit is for Family Dollar. Is that one business or two businesses? They kind of present themselves together, so I'm not sure.
They're a
Does this
joint
cover both?
business. It's Dollar Store Family Dollar is a joint business.
Okay, so this permit does cover both?
Right. It's not two
Or the
separate
one.
stores out there,
Okay.
it's one store
Okay.
under the dual name.
They're just trying to bring people in from whatever they're familiar with. Okay, I'd move to approve then.
Second.
Motion from Harley, second from Don. Any other discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Harley?
Yes.
Motion carried. We'll move then to agenda item number 9, which is a public hearing, and it's 5:13, and we'll open this public hearing, and this is in regards to 307 East State Street.
I'd like to invite Caroline from the North Iowa Area Council of Governments up to the podium. NIACOG is the grant administrator for this project, and she has some of the details for the hearing to share.
As Jacob said, I'm Caroline from NIACOG. I'm the grant administrator for this CDBG grant. So just a couple of things. The general description of accomplishments to date. So MUN Enterprises was hired after the federal procurement process was followed, and that included the advertisement and acceptance of bids. He has completed about 21% of the work to develop 3 apartments at 307 East State Street. The summary of expenditures to date, and rounded figures, is about $146,000. That includes about $28,000 from the developer and $88,000 in federal grant funding. And that includes about $90,000 in construction costs and $3,000 in administration costs. The general work that's remaining is doors, interior finished carpentry, the windows, flooring, painting, and miscellaneous other items. description of any sort of changes made to the project budget or anything of that nature. So the bids exceeded the original estimates by about $83,000, which is the lowest I've seen out of other ones of these I am administering, which I was quite surprised by. So the developer decided to just cover that gap with increasing his construction loan. And there's no change in performance targets. It's still going to be doing 3 apartments. There's been no change in location. The objectives or beneficiaries will still be going to low-income individuals. And the estimated completion for this project is probably about September of this year. Now, with these SOFA hearings, it's for citizen participation. So if anyone here has any questions or complaints or regarding these activities, can contact Deputy City Administrator Barb Smith at 112 West Hall Street here in Algona, or by calling 515-295-2411. And any questions?
You mentioned it's for low income.
Yeah.
What's the dollar range on that?
So it's 80% of the area median income is the household. There's not a set limit, it's just a percentage. So for this, it's 80% for federal grants. I don't know what that is on top of my head. And it also varies on household size, so for one person, it's this, and then 2, 3, 4, so on, and so forth.
But it's 80% of the
Area median income.
okay.
When you say 3 apartments, are they all just 2-bedroom? You don't, or that's the developers? They can do what they want.
There's a range. I don't think there's more than 2 bedrooms, but there's at least 1 bedroom up there.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you guys.
And there's been no contact the city.
We have not received any public comments in response to the hearing notice.
Okay. It's 5:17 then, and I will close the public hearing regarding 307 East State Street. And we'll move to old business agenda item number 10, and that concerns a fireworks sales permit.
Yes, this was a agenda item on the last council meeting, which the applicant asked us to table so they could submit an amended application. It's going to be a temporary commercial fireworks sales stand in the current Baumgars parking lot, and they're proposing sales through July 8th. So the original drawing was based on last year's layout, which didn't work with the area that's under construction right now for Scooter's Coffee. So their amended layout meets the requirements for setbacks and locations.
Motion to approve permit application. Second.
We have a motion from Rodney, second from, is that Tyler? Okay. Any other discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Harley?
Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 11, this is a resolution approving an agreement with Stinson Prairie Arts Council.
Yes, this is a nonprofit agreement with Stinson Prairie Arts Council, similar to the agreements that the city adopted earlier this year with the Care Team and Senior Center when we distribute funds to nonprofits for public purposes. This agreement would provide the means for the city to have a service agreement with Stinson Prairie Arts Council to provide arts, concert and other cultural activities and programs for the community and open to the public. The agreement renews automatically each year unless either party gives notice to terminate, subject to funds being budgeted specifically for Stinson Prairie Art Council by the City Council annually.
Make a motion, then we approve the resolution agreement with Stinson Prairie Arts Council.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Rodney, second from Jody. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Harley?
I wouldn't benefit financially, but I am on the board of the Arts Council, so I'll abstain at this point.
Thank you, motion carried. Yeah, we did vote. We did, okay. Very good, okay. Agenda item number 12, this is a resolution regarding the EMS transition agreement.
I'd go ahead and just like to invite Phil up to the podium, because I'm sure he'll have some comments to add or answer questions on this and the next two items. So following the November 2022 vote last year by Cassuth County voters, which voted to make emergency medical services in Cassuth County an essential service, the Cassuth County Advisory Board, as well as the various services and the Cassuth County EMS and the city have been working together on how that transition will work, so the county can begin providing EMS as a county-wide essential service. Currently, the business agreement that we have with the county is more or less they subcontract to the city to provide countywide EMS service, whereas this, what's been discussed at length and negotiated, provides the means for the county to take that on as a service, and the city ambulance service will discontinue. So there's two items on tonight's agenda. This one, which is the EMS asset transfer and transition agreement, and then the following item is an assignment of a lease agreement. So under the transition agreement, all of the assets of the city EMS service will be transferred to Cassuth County. This includes the ambulance, the 2 cars that they have, the 4 ambulances that are currently in our possession, and then the one that was ordered and is still under construction. The ambulance building that they currently operate out of, which is on land leased from the hospital, and then all other equipment and operating supplies. The agreement also provides for the financial transition of the service. So for the next several months, the city, even though we won't be operating EMS service anymore, will continue to receive revenues in FY24 for services rendered in FY23. So this provides for that revenue staying with the service. So it would be split 50-50 initially, with 50% going to county EMS, the other 50% staying with the city until all of our final expenses and any operating deficits that exist have been paid in full. At that point, all the revenues that the city EMS service had earned that receives will all be directed 100% to county EMS and sticking with the service. But that provides the means to kind of just close out all the financial side of the city ambulance service. And then the agreement also contains measures in there in a scenario where, for any reason, if the vote wasn't renewed in, I think it's 15 or 20 years, when it needs to go back on the ballot, that if the county can no longer provide EMS service, how that transition back to the city providing EMS service would occur, which basically lays out that either any of the existing equipment, the modern day equivalent, or the funds necessary for the city to purchase the modern day equivalent would come back to the city to allow the city to resume providing an EMS service at our current level. So EMS has and always operated as a proprietary or business fund, so the money's earned by EMS stays with EMS, as opposed to some city funds where it's a general balance, where if it's not spent, it goes back. So really, these funds were earned by the service, would stick with the service, what paid for that building, all that equipment were, from the ambulance service or donations or other funding that was committed. So this basically provides the means to transfer those assets and those revenues from the service with the new version of the service, which will be with under Cassuth County, but in a scenario which hopefully we don't run into, because ultimately I think EMS is a service that's not a perfect system or perfect boundaries, but it makes the most sense for our community and our county to be administered at the county level. But in a scenario where for some reason that were to revert back to the city, that the city has the means to equipment and financially to pick up and resume providing that service. So the official turnover is slated to occur at 7 a.m. on Sunday, July 2nd.
Why, remind me, why not July 1st?
That's when, just
mentioned
with
it before.
our payroll and schedule runs through, so that was just kind of, it was a lot cleaner to do it that way for,
I knew you mentioned it, but I couldn't remember.
yeah,
Benefit reasons as well.
yeah.
Okay.
So there are a number of current city EMS employees who, they've been given notice that our service will be discontinuing, and they will be joining or continuing to serve our community, but now as county employees. So Philip Albers, he's the last couple of years has been the business agreement, has been instrumental in the hybrid version we've been operating under, he's ready for and excited to see kind of this next evolution of EMS with it going fully under a countywide service here coming up in July. So, Phil, anything to add to that?
I guess one of the big focuses I had from the start of these agreements was to make sure that we have the financial means to provide service going forward, and also if something happened, we had the financial means for you guys to assume it back. 'Cause the last thing we want to do is destroy EMS and not be able to provide a service either now or in the future if something would change and came back to you guys. So I think through all of our meetings and our rewriting this agreement, we have a pretty solid agreement in place where we are protecting both entities if something should happen. So I think you covered everything. As far as the financials, he said, as far as the money going forward, that's also on the back end, that any fund balance that the county may have at the time that was raised for tax dollars, that will also stay within the system back to the communities as needed. So it's not just the equipment, it's financials as well that will be coming back and forth if that should occur.
And basically, all communities are signing pretty much the same agreement. I mean, I know we have that, but like Soy City signs the same.
So the original agreement we had when we came to you guys the last time, was one agreement was a three-way party. It was between the Soy City of Algona and the Board of Supervisors. The issue we had with that, to me, was the language in there that said if one party withdraws, this agreement will terminate.
Okay.
Well, if for some reason Soy City would change, we don't want to have to start all over here, or vice versa. It just didn't make sense to do all this financial change and then try to revert everything back by separating. We're trying to have the two agreements as close to the same as possible. There's a few little differences between how the two entities operate, but overall they'll be the same, and if one changes, we don't have to change them both and start over.
One of the other goals with this has been that, from a citizen standpoint, the difference between July 1st and July 2nd, shouldn't be noticed. Might take a little bit of time to start getting logos changed and things like that turned over. But, just on, continuing the operations and having it set up in a way, and we're glad that a number of the staff are, obviously continuing with the county. They are, I know, advertising for them. We'll be looking to add more paramedics and EMTs, because now with the funding source for the essential service, provide the means to hire, more staff, which is needed. So we'll be looking to add some positions there. But it's took a while to get to this point, but it also went really, really fast. But, I think this is we're, getting to kind of our next chapter in EMS as a service, and, just for the long-term viability and sustainability of it. Excited to see the county support with its voters and the communities to go to this next level.
Our goal is we want to keep our local identity. We're not going to run out and change everything to Cassuth County. A lot of our staff has been wearing Cassuth County EMS clothing for 3 years. To the general public, we want it to be a seamless transition. We're still going to have the Algona EMS Association that's still going to do their breakfast, and they're still going to be involved in this. So we want it to be a seamless transition for the residents as much as we can, and hopefully they don't really notice that anything changed. We're just providing a good service.
Hey, Phil, I think that we are probably on the leading edge of this change in the state. Do you know how other counties are there several other
I
ones.
get a lot of phone calls.
I think that's what I wondered, if you were being asked, how are you guys doing it?
Yeah, we have had a lot of phone calls, a lot of meetings with other counties since they passed theirs, because we had two, Jacob and myself together, we've had two years prior to vote of running the system. So we've had a lot of phone calls from other counties that passed at the ballot at the same time we did, and trying to help them get things going too. But yeah, you're right, we had nothing to go from. We kind of,
Yeah.
it's a learning process as we went and learned from some of the mistakes we made and try to make better.
It kind of sounds like it's going to be statewide eventually, where
Yeah.
everybody's going to have to do
There was
this.
only, 7 that passed when we did that, I don't remember.
I think, yeah, it was a half a dozen is what I recall, and
But there's a lot more going to the ballot this year that have asked me, have gone to their meetings, their advisory council meetings, on how to set things up, how to get it passed through the election, that kind of stuff. So we're going to see a lot more in the next few years.
Well, certainly appreciate all your work, you and Jacob. I know it's been a long, and it's gone fast, huh? So,
A couple months ago, we thought we had a year and a half
Yeah, I
to
know.
complete this project, and it went to a couple, 3 months.
good. Yeah, but I do appreciate all the work that you did. So I'd entertain a motion then to approve this transition agreement.
So moved.
I'll second.
A motion from Rodney, second from Jody. Any other discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Harley?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. And then agenda item number 13, this pertains to the EMS facility lease agreement that Jacob spoke about.
I have gone and met with the hospital board on that agreement. The hospital board is fine with everything we're doing, so they aren't involved. They actually read this agreement at their last meeting, and they have it on their agenda to approve that tomorrow at the hospital meeting. So that's where that stands with them.
so yeah, the building that's out there that Algonah EMS currently operates under, which is being transferred to the county under the previous agreement, is actually on land owned by the county hospital. So in 1994, the city entered into a 99-year lease for that land. One of the conditions of that is any facility built on that can only be used for an EMS service, but does allow for the lease to be assigned if it's, for another EMS service. So this hands that over, and then the same principles as the transition agreement apply if the county were to vacate that for any reason. If the service is no longer countywide service or other reasons, the lease assignment would revert back to the city.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Harley, a second from Tyler. Any discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Harley?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Agenda item number 14 is regarding Maple Park Apartments.
Yes, so yeah, on the topic of 99-year leases, Maple Park Apartments, what facilitated that original development was a lease between the city and the developer, signed in 1976 originally, a 99-year lease for the developer to develop affordable housing on that lot, which is considered the tenant in the lease agreement with the city. So the owner, that the tenant is going to be changing to a different company. So as part of the lending conditions, financing that transaction, the lender just wanted the certificate clarifying the terms of the agreement, that everything's current and squared away. So this is more or less a formality, but in order to allow that transition on the lease owner of Maple Park Apartments to occur. I don't know if Paul, Barb, if you have anything to add?
Doesn't change any details, just the name,
Yep.
basically.
Then the lease just continues for another 50 years, basically, give or take. But,
Yep, through March 1st, 2076.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Tyler, second from Don. Any other discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Harley?
Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 15 pertains to the airport runway.
As you recall, a couple meetings ago, we approved a construction contract for Phase 1 of the airport runway extension contingent upon the city receiving federal FAA funding for that. Worked its way through the process, and then the other week, we finally got the formal notification of that. So what this resolution does is approve and authorize the mayor and city administrator to execute a grant funding agreement with the FAA for Phase 1 funding. It will be for a grant of amount up to $1,835,057. That will cover 90% of the total project costs for construction, as well as construction administration services. And then the city is responsible for the remaining 10% of the project share, which is approximately $203,000. The project is set to begin construction after August 15th. Then it will consist of a lot of earthwork. That'll be the bulk of it, but basically building up that extension, extending the runway to the south for the runway displacement, which occurred to the north several years ago due to its proximity to Highway 18. So this will get us back to eventually what our runway length used to be. So when that work begins in mid-August, 100th Avenue, there that goes north-south, the east of the airport, that will permanently close, as was previously authorized by the Board of Supervisors and the City Council. So the major earthwork will take place this fall, and then we'll go to start working on Phase 2 of the project, which will be for the actual construction of the runway, lighting, related improvements, and so that is expected to be bid in spring of 2024 and then constructed in fall of 2024.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
A motion from Harley, second from Jody. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler? Don?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Harley?
Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 16 pertains to the city wages and insurance benefits.
Yes, this resolution sets forth the wages and benefits for seasonal, part-time, and full-time city employees for the fiscal year 2024, which begins here on July 1, 2023. It's based, adjustments are based on the insurance plan changes that we began with a year ago and discussed and established with Ways and Means, as well as the as opposed to doing a percentage increase this year, doing a dollar amount increase for those employees that aren't otherwise covered by the union agreement, then with market adjustments for different positions based on their comparables.
Thank you for all your work on that. Thank you for, doing the market adjustments. I think those were necessary. And didn't realize we were pretty low on a few even, so that's good. I'd make a motion then to approve the resolution setting the salaries.
I'll second.
A motion from Rodney, second from Jody. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Harley?
Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 17, this is a resolution approving transfer of funds.
With the fiscal year coming to an end, this is our last meeting in FY23, which is very hard to believe. This has a transfer of funds for a few items that we know the amounts of. We might have another post-dated transfer of funds for FY23 in the next month or two as we close out the books, but it has two transfers from the tax increment financing fund. That was a TIF increment collected for eligible reimbursements for development of Snap-on Drive and Phase 1 development of the Keek Industrial Park. The $17,000 for the value of the police Ford Explorer, which was transferred to the community liaison position. The equivalent value of that, which is being paid for out of the grant funds, which is funding year one of that position. And then the final is $50,000 from an American Rescue Plan Act dollars to Algona EMS for FY 2023 expenses, as was previously authorized by council resolution. But this just formally makes that transfer take place.
Motion to approve the resolution authorizing transfer of funds.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Rodney, a second from Jody. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Jody? Yes. Harley?
Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 18 concerns Nebraska street closure on July 9th.
Yes, Sunday, July 9th, First United Methodist Church has requested to close the one block of Nebraska just south of their property there between Moore Street and Harlan Street from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. That evening for a vacation Bible school event that they're hosting. So they had originally requested this several months ago, but we said, we think it'll work, just let's not make sure nothing funny is going on with any detours with work going around in that area, which we won't have any issue of. So recommend approving closing of that one block in Nebraska for Sunday, July 9th.
Move to approve.
Sorry.
We have a motion from Don, second from Tyler. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Deb.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Jody? Yes. Harley?
Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 19 involves a pay application.
This is pay application number 1 for the Finn Drive and Wooster Street reconstruction project. Matt Cole with Bolton Mink is here, which I'll let him provide the brief explanation on this pay application and then share kind of some of the other just general project updates that we have going on and if you have any questions. So.
Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, basically number 1 here is for work on Finn and Booster Street project through May 31st. It includes the Rome Street underground and the majority of the water main work and removals on Booster Street. Since then, they have completed all the sewer and water services on Booster Street and are working currently on the storm sewer. At the end of the week, expected to have all the storm sewer in and all the major underground work completed on the 2 blocks of Booster Street between Kennedy and McGregor. So all that will remain on that is grading, base, and subdrain work for the subsurface drainage and some home stuffs to all the homes. Finn Drive, like Jacob said, started last week with removals and storm sewer construction. There is very little underground work on that street. It's just storm sewer and a few sanitary manhole replacements. So that's expected to be, storm sewer will be done potentially this week with some sanitary work following, and then I'll start working on grading that street too with subdrains and a substantial gravel section to get rid of some of the bad dirt that's under the road, which we knew about in design. So hopefully the road will hold up longer than the previous one.
I thought maybe they were just, rumors, but yeah, when they were doing removals, went out there and I asked them, it's like, yep, it's just concrete on dirt,
Yeah.
no base.
Yeah, there's no gravel out there. There is some drains, but there's no way for the water to get through the dirt under the road very quickly, so it's just wet. But construction's moving along well out there too. They started storm sewer in last week, and they're almost done with the main line run. Just got some few catch basins and continue on.
So you could use that as training for how not to do it.
Potentially, yes. Yep, and then the 2023 overlay project, the street improvements project, has begun. They're working on water services on Wooster Street between Kennedy and State Street. They have about half of them done so far, and are hoping to be having those wrapped up by the end of the week. And then they'll jump to Elm Street to start the water main work on Elm Street between Diagonal and Rome. The removals have been completed on that street. Everybody is just temp gravel access for their driveways right now, so the street is closed to through traffic, but is open to the residents along both
Wooster and Elm Street currently. As that progress moves forward, it'll be Durant next for the water main work, and then the rest of Elm Street and Woodward Street for removals and curb replacement for the overlay. And the library work will happen sometime in July. And once the concrete crew is in town and everybody's kind of wrapped up, they're waiting on a couple storm structures too, but sometime in July, that part of the project will get moved. So yeah, in your packet, you got estimate one, total of $290,000, $744.34. Any questions on Finn and Wooster?
So Finn Drive paving expected,
There's going to be a lot of grading involved out there. We got a lot of dirt to move. So I don't know specifically Reading's projected paving date, but I would say probably end of July
okay.
would be a good guess.
Good.
'Cause, yeah, there's a lot more removals that have to take place out there just in order to move that dirt for the, not just the regular base, but yeah, the extra depth that we're going to be going out there.
Yeah, and it will be paved in halves, one to help with access during construction, and two, because the street is wider than the standard 31-foot wide city street. It's a 36-foot wide street, so we'll be paving it half and half, just like they did Snap-on Drive on the east side of Snap-on. So maintaining access to all the businesses out there is obviously crucial to this project.
Very good.
Motion to approve pay application.
I'll second.
A motion from Rodney, second from Jody. Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Jody? Yes. Harley?
Yes. Motion carried. And agenda item number 20 approves the pay application also for Central Park Improvement Project.
Yep, this pay estimate is for basically just the material costs. It's half of the material costs for the splash pad equipment. It has a fairly long lead time, and it has to be paid for upfront, half of it, basically a deposit down. So the contractor has requested to get that money minus retainage to be able to order those materials so they're here in time for construction, which is in phase 2 of the project. But the material will be insured, will be protected, and so there's really no issue on that end from the city standpoint. It's just a request for payment for ordering the equipment.
It's a little bit odd as some of the materials in some of our other projects, but just given the, sheer cost of it, and yeah, it's going to be insured and covered. And, in talking with the other communities and the Bolton team on these splash pad projects, that these are, pretty standard requirements of any manufacturer that they get that payment up front. So.
Yeah, very specialty parts that need to be, made and manufactured, and everybody's just covering their own responsibilities.
So does the manufacturer make the product and hire the team that installs it, or are they separate?
I guess I'm not too familiar with splash pad construction on that front.
The manufacturer, in order for any of the warranties to apply, it has to be installed by a certified installer. And so, I believe it's Commercial Rec Services is the installer, so they're certified to do that. So that's how that's handled in terms of it. Because if it's just anyone installs it, then the warranties are void.
But they install but do not do the cement work. Is that correct, or?
Correct, yeah. The concrete work will be done by the concrete subcontractor on the project. So they'll do kind of all the underground piping, kind of the footings for it, all the pipes, the treatments, things like that. Get that all done. Then the concrete contractor will actually pour that concrete, and then the features will be installed after that.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion from Harley, second from Don. Any other discussion? Roll call, Deb?
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Harley?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Agenda items number 21 and 22 are affiliated with one another. Agenda item number 21 involves setting a new date and time for the first city council meeting in July. A little bit of background, the next regular city council meeting, of course, is slated for the first Monday of July, and that's July 3rd. And the city offices will be closed on Tuesday, July 4th for Independence holiday. So I proposed to Jacob that we move our July 3rd council meeting to Wednesday, July 5th, and then approve the city holiday hours. In other words, to close City Hall on Monday, July the 3rd. So we'll discuss these items, of course, separately, but just historically, the day before a holiday, and in this instance, with a weekend and then one day and then a holiday, there's fewer requests from the public. So closing the city offices would be just a way for us also to say thank you to the city staff. So with that, I would entertain a motion for agenda item number 21 to set our regular city council meeting in July, the first one, to Wednesday, July the 5th at 5 o'clock.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Don, second from Rodney. Any discussion?
The only conflict I see is that is Party in the Park that night at 5:30. So if we hurry through our
Okay,
council meeting, we wouldn't have to miss too much of that.
that'll be up to you guys then. Okay, roll call, Deb.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Harley?
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. And then I would entertain a motion then to approve the city holiday hours for Monday, July the 3rd, again, just as a way to say thank you to our staff.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion from Harley, second from Jody. Any discussion?
Other than just pointing out that I would expect there'd probably be quite a few people taking vacation that day if we didn't provide it.
That's probably right.
It's, probably works better just to provide the day off.
The extra day, yeah. Roll call, Deb.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Harley?
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. And the final item, agenda number 23, this is notification of the terms of Scott Rath and Alyssa Wagner. Their terms on a tree board expire the end of this month, the end of June 2023, and these are council appointments. Has anyone visited with?
Mayor Alyssa said she would be willing to be appointed again, but Scott declined.
Okay.
Can we appoint Alyssa yet, or have to wait?
We can,
appoint Alyssa?
we can
You can
appoint
appoint
Alyssa,
Alyssa too.
and then we'll find a replacement for Scott then. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve Alyssa to the tree board.
Second.
We have a motion from Jody, second from Tyler, to appoint Alyssa Wagner back to the tree board. Any discussion? Roll call, Deb.
Rodney?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Harley?
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. It is 5:53, and we've come to the end of our published agenda. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, the meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.